There we go. Oh, shows that we're live on YouTube. It does not show on Facebook, so I'm going to check in one other place.
Okay.
See if it's just lying to me or what's going on. No, it's actually not lying to me. It looks like it's not syncing to Facebook. An error occurred. Go live. Let's try this one more time. So for anyone that's watching this on YouTube, we're not going crazy. It's just our Facebook's not synced. So let's try it in one other spot. If you're watching on Facebook already, give me a thumbs up so I know you can see us and hear us fine. And then I will go ahead and get us started here in about a minute once it gives everyone a chance to see that we're on. Oh, perfect. I see Wayne on here. Thank you, Wayne, for hopping on. I'm just waiting 1 second while this pulls up. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So good morning to you, Wayne, and hello to Counselor Scully. Dawn, hi. Thank you so much for hopping on with us. Counselor Seymour, great to see you. And then Parker Brown, thank you all for coming on with us and coming on promptly. I'm so excited. That means that they're excited to hear from you, Paul. They usually never do this for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So good morning and happy Thursday. We are one day away from a weekend, so I hope you guys are having a terrific week. And to get us started, you know, I always go through some housekeeping. I am Juliet Bell, President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. If it is your first time on here, please make sure that you hit that notification wheel, like the page so you can get alerted in the future with our live broadcasts. If along the way you have questions or comments, please be sure you type them into the comment section. Similar to how I've done with a few of the comments we've already received, we'll display on the screen. I like giving kudos and shout outs because I know how hard it is to carve out 30 minutes out of your day to spend it with us. So I appreciate that, and that's why I always will recognize whomever I see and any comments that are out there. If it is your first time watching any of our videos, know that we have a slew of them that date all the way back into March. You'll find the majority of them on our video section of the Facebook page. They're also on our YouTube and our COVID-19 resource hub, which we still keep updated with resources and information for our business community at city, county, state, and federal level that we have access to. The link has been included in the comment section of this broadcast for you to find at any point in time. As you all have heard me reiterate the last few days, we're really focused on trying to assist those businesses with reopening, and along the way, and emphasizing to our community at large that business is open here in Westminster. And what that's looked like is one-on-one interviews that we've held with partners in the community. We had Walmart on Tuesday, our retail representative, to share what they've done in terms of safety for their customers, their employees, and even their vendors. Then we touched base with a local small business independent owner, Kokopelli Beer Company. If you were watching that, you would have gone straight over to Kokopelli Beer Company, Paul. That's likely why you were there.
I believe I might have actually been there at the time.
You were actually there, huh? So that's Paul's stomping ground outside of his office in the fields. But we did have Christine with us, and she shared some of their challenges, obstacles they overcame, and some things that they've implemented so businesses that are in similar industries can pick up. We're going to keep those live streams going. So if there's a business that you've seen doing something really well, or that we should highlight and bring some attention to, please DM us and let us know, and we'll try and weave them in as well. We're giving priority to some that are already involved with our organization. Hello to you, Brian Head. Thank you for hopping on to tune in with us. So today's broadcast is a part of our nonprofit corner. And this is, again, one of our newer efforts to weave in our nonprofit community who's also been impacted by COVID. Westminster Soccer Club is located here in Westminster, about 2 minutes away from the chamber office, near or adjacent to our next downtown that's coming up. But Paul is their executive director and has been heavily plugged into the community. So he's spending the morning with us to share about what they have experienced during this time, how they adapted, overcame, and then looking ahead, what might be some things that they've implemented so that they can support their community and residents that are interested in getting a chance to connect with them. So Paul, you can take it all away.
Thanks, Juliet. Thanks for having me, and welcome everybody who's online listening. So it's funny that you mentioned Kokopelli, Juliet. We actually did go there last week for a staff lunch because we got some good and exciting news from the City of Westminster that we were finally able to get back to work. So as a small treat, we popped next door and actually had lunch. So it's great food over there, and it was funny that you mentioned it. But once again, yeah, I'm Paul Mulvaney, Executive Director at Westminster Soccer. We've been having soccer in Westminster now for about 30 years. The city has now been involved with youth soccer from our point of view for about the last 15 years. We are a non-profit, and we're involved in the youth sports industry, which like a lot of industries has been heavily affected over the last 3 months, and it's now slowly beginning to turn around, and kids and youth soccer players and sports players all over the state and the country and hopefully the world are getting excited again to get back outside. Our soccer program, our soccer leagues traditionally run in the fall from late August until November time, and then we start up again the second week in March. So this year, on March 12th, it was a Thursday afternoon, we were advised by our state governing body, which is Colorado Soccer Association, that we needed to close down all soccer fields for about 2 weeks. That morning, CHASA announced the same closures for all Colorado high school sports. So the whole afternoon we were kind of by our computers, by our phones, and talking back and forth with Westminster Soccer Club, with Colorado Soccer Club about when and if they would pull the plug on fields. So it happened that afternoon, March 12th, and it changed a lot of our world, I guess, as we move forward, and probably for a long time. The actual league was supposed to start that weekend, so we had everything set up for our league games. All of our fields were set up. We worked closely with the City of Westminster, and we were ready to go. Friday's our day off. We get prepared, and then we're busy all weekend. So with that shutdown, and it was originally a 2-week shutdown, I believe it was towards the last week in March, we were originally told we would be able to open. That quickly changed, as unfortunately the pandemic got worse and affected areas all over the USA. And it went through pretty much the entire month of March, all the way through April, and all the way through May into June. You know, our soccer season ends at the end of May, Juliet, and what we do then is we have our tryouts, we form our teams, and then we prepare again over the summer for fall soccer season. You know, how it impacted at least the spring. The unknown was the most difficult thing for us. And like everything to do with COVID-19 and all of the unknowns, you know, we were the same. The Colorado Soccer Association, US Soccer, were continually sending out messages, and there was a hope to get kids back out there, to get fields back open. They had return to play guidelines, return to play policies. I was fortunate enough to sit on a return to play committee with Colorado Soccer and had ideas and input as to how it would look. But the unknown of when we could actually do it was what was the most difficult thing that we faced. Our membership of close to almost 2,000 people, about 1,800 families, not knowing if it was going to happen or if it wasn't going to happen and when it was going to happen. That was difficult for everybody, and trying to give out that information or lack thereof that information was hard for our club, was hard for our staff, and I'm sure I can speak for everybody that was involved in any type of youth sport. You know, people want to know when they can do things, and we want to know, and trying to actually get a date that is safe to kind of open was our biggest hurdle. I'm super proud of what our staff done, because we were transparent with our entire membership. We tried to communicate with them on probably a bi-weekly basis. We had mass communication, and then our coaches who were involved with all of our teams on the competitive side of the club, those coaches continued to stay connected with the membership through the entire process. And twice each week, they would have Zoom meetings with their teams. They would have kids in basements. They would have kids in their driveways. They would have kids breaking furniture upstairs in the kitchen. And our coaches worked really hard all through the month of March, into April and May, and actually done coaching sessions online. So it was difficult. It was all through Zoom, but it was our way to stay connected with those players and give them something to do during lockdown. And it was our way to also then give out information to our members about what we were hoping to do and what the timelines were. So, middle of April, we got completely cancelled. The leagues got cancelled. Everything in Colorado shut down. It was official. And that was a big moment for us, because at least we had closure on how the spring season looked, and we were able to then plan accordingly. What we've done since then is we've probably haven't worked as hard in our lives with regards to putting into place how we were going to plan moving forward. And it's been probably 8 weeks of doing that. We immediately had to offer refunds and credits to our families. I mean, they paid for a service, and unfortunately we couldn't provide the service. Our coaches reaching out to the kids twice a week was an awesome service, and it was something that we were proud of to do and enjoyed doing it. But it wasn't the service that the families paid for. The families paid for their kids to be out on fields, and their families paid for soccer leagues. So we addressed refunds and credits, and we started issuing them late April through first week in June. So I mean, we're at a place now. We've been so thankful that so many families in our program, they didn't want the credit. They donated their credit back to our club. So they denied the credit. They obviously did not want a refund. And that was, amazing to see the support from them, that they recognized that we were in a pretty difficult financial place as we move forward. So we took care of those that we needed to credit, and we moved them credits to the fall soccer season. We refunded those that needed a refund, those that were hurting, those that were out of work, those that needed that money immediately. And then we, again, we had so much communication and kind people to come in and donate back to our program by denying the credit. That was just, that was very humbling, and it was exciting because it helped us financially. And we super appreciate kind of the support and the understanding that the families kind of gave us. Over the course of that moment, we also decided to start to make changes within our budget. We've since downsized our office. I'm kind of sitting here, and we're still in the process of moving. We're still in the same building, but we went from a 2,500 square feet office. We're now in a little 500 square feet office, but financially, it'll really impact our budget in a positive way over the next year. And we've had to make many different decisions that are going to help us recover. That being one of the biggest one. And then we work with a brilliant group of coaches who are willing and have agreed to take considerable cuts to their coaching stipend each season in an effort to help us recover as well. We're hosting a summer soccer camp at the end of August, and then at the end of July, and then another one at the beginning of August. And we've had a lot of our team coaches offer to come in and work that camp free of charge. So we're making a lot of different decisions on the soccer field and off the soccer field to help our budget, to help our financial situation, because it's going to be a long year. I've met with the City of Westminster. We permit our facilities through those guys, and it was difficult for them and for us over the last several weeks because other cities and other counties have been opening, and then Westminster didn't get open as early as others, and I obviously was putting pressure on them and getting pressure from many hundreds of kids who were hearing about other soccer fields openings. But it was last week, finally, I spoke to the City Parks and Rec District, and they gave us the all clear that the City Council had passed the processes that were in place to get parks open. And we got that information last week. So that was our little celebratory lunch at Kokopelli. And we then finally just got on the fields 2 days ago, on Monday, the 22nd of June. And the excitement from kids, it would always bring a tear to your eye just to see how they reacted around one another. Obviously it looks very different, so it does. We have guidelines, we have policies. Their safety and the safety of all of our city members and parents and coaches and referees and players is first and foremost. So the environment is different. We're in smaller groups. We require coaches to have face masks while they work as much as they can. Kids are advised and urged to wear their face masks to and from the soccer fields, but they do not have to wear them in play. And parents have to not hang around the fields in groups and so on and so forth. So, we have waivers, we have hand sanitizer stations, we have all sorts of different protocols in place to make sure that this recovery continues to be successful and continues to go in the right direction. All we can do is control what we can, but if we do our part, all we hope is everybody does their part. People use common sense, I feel, more than anything, so that we don't get to where we have been this past 3 months. So it's been a long 3 months. I think it's brought our staff and our coaches, and to a certain extent our families, I feel it's brought people closer together. They've had to work together more, but in a different environment. We've had to understand each other more, and we've had to agree that sacrifices now have to be made, whether it be staffing sacrifices, coaching sacrifices, office sacrifices. And I don't ever want to go back to where we have been, but I'm trying to find good moments of what we've learned through the process, so that we can kind of continue to put that onto our future relationships, whether that be with the City of Westminster, current staff, other clubs, and then most importantly our players and our families, and hopefully continue on this road to a recovery and get back to a financial place where we're not stressing out anymore. But it's going to be it'll be 6 months, maybe another full year before at least the youth sports industry recovers from kind of March, April and May and June actually of not having any ability to run their businesses. So.
Well, thank you, Paul. And this is exactly why, I asked to have you come up here, because especially during this time, we really have been focused on, our economy slowing down, and we're focused a lot on our small businesses, and rightfully so. That's but we're also not seeing the impact on some of our other nonprofits and how they've been affected along the way, especially our sporting community. We've got a lot of comments, a lot of people that are tuned in. It must be an accent thing. You know, when I had our Aussie a couple of weeks back, it was also increased. So that's what I need to do, is find people with unique accents that just captivate the audience. Just want to give a quick shout out. Phil Sloan, I see you. I also see one of my good friends, Gerardo, who's an aficionado for soccer. We've got some comments for you and a couple of, I think maybe one question that I've seen. So I'm going to pull this up. And if anybody that's just hopped on has any questions for Paul, he is here representing the Westminster Soccer Club, a nonprofit that's located here in Westminster, Colorado. I've taken as much notes as I can inside of this chat box. Please review those, and if you have any comments or questions, drop them in so we can take those up since we're near the end of the broadcast. We also have Krista that's on here with us. She mentioned Go Westy. That's her initial comment, but Krista also had a comment further that I'll go ahead and pull up, and she just wants to give you kudos. You guys are doing a great job. Her daughter is incredibly happy to be back on the field, and she just wants to thank you for everything that you have done for them. So I think that just kind of speaks volumes from a parent that has their own child that's in there and really just supports your overall organization. We also have a comment that comes to us from Parker. Parker also wants to thank you for all you're doing with the kids. His son is a part of the youth rec leagues and he loves it. And he also wants to let you know that Greg is great to work with. So hopefully Greg wasn't one that you had to nick. No, hold on. Okay.
No, not yet anyway.
Okay, terrific. So Greg's safe. Thank you for that comment, Parker. Appreciate that as well. And then our next comment comes to us from Brian Head. Brian wants to share that it's great to see you. He appreciates the work that you're doing here in the community, especially now. It's more important than ever since kids have been more isolated. You know, we saw that with schools, that they all had to be at home doing the learning. They're not interacting with their friends or their neighbors as much as possible. And this is another area that they were forced to kind of not socialize in. So the social and teamwork skills that the Westminster soccer teaches are critical right now. So just wanted to share that with you as well. So it doesn't look like I have any, well, doesn't look like I have any, wait, nope, here's a, it looks like Paul has gear behind him. Can people purchase Westy soccer apparel to support the organization?
Yes, absolutely. They can purchase it here at the office. We're also going to be launching a uniform online opportunity with soccer.com starting next week. Our Adidas, a uniform provider that we've worked with over the last several years, has actually now, due to the timelines of coronavirus and many other things, is now kind of merged in with soccer.com. So look for that here in about the next week. We'll have our own website through those guys, and there'll be a lot of different soccer swag, Westminster apparel, and that it's going to be available through that website also. But it'll be on our own website once we have the link and it's up and live and running.
Excellent. And we'll be sure to grab that link from you and include it into this broadcast and share it out. And for those of you that don't know, I generally never wear jeans or hoodies or anything like that. The only hoodie I do own is one from the Westminster Soccer Club. So when you spot me in a black one, it will have that emblem on there. And I can tell you it keeps me warm when I am going out. So
absolutely.
I wanted to give that kudos out. Brian, a different Brian, this one's Brian with an I, is asking you about the Man United win yesterday.
I was actually delighted to be on the soccer fields all afternoon. So thankfully I didn't have to watch that match. I did hear about the win afterwards, but I was more excited to be out at Westfield Village Park. Like I say, we just got open on Monday, and just seeing the different kids have the opportunity to get back on the field. Brian's kids being a couple of them. That means the world is, and that's way more important than Manchester United, who are a good soccer team. But no, I did not watch it.
And hello to Jason Mizak. I see that you're on here. Liz Torres, Gavin Boyle, and then Scott Rose is sharing that you guys are the best club in Denver. So Denver suburbs always puts people first, and that's so true. I mean, it's in the name, Westminster Soccer Club. That's why their club's terrific. Our city's awesome. The chamber. There's a trend that's here, right?
Absolutely. Let Scott know we all miss him here. I hope he's safe and well in Florida with his family, but everybody at the club misses him.
Awesome. So Westminster Soccer has also tuned in with us. They're on Instagram and Twitter. So if you are not already following them, please find their accounts. They're using that same profile picture, I know, on all platforms. So it makes it so much easier for you to figure out which organization it is. So there's one more question. This is more personal to see how you're doing, Paul. So I'll have you answer this, and then I'll ask you one, not directed or any fire in specific, but I am curious with a comment you made earlier. So Scott's saying, how have you been staying busy during this pandemic? So obviously with things not taking place on the field, and we've talked about this a little bit before, outwardly people see what we do. They don't see a lot of what goes into it on the backside. So
correct. Not to obviously keep this going for another 3 hours. I'll answer it real quick. I appreciate the question, Scott. The first part of the pandemic, I actually learned how to do fourth grade math, and fourth grade social studies. It was probably the hardest part of the pandemic for me. I'm not going to lie, because becoming a stay-at-home school teacher overnight was something that I wasn't prepared for. So that was the early part of it. During the whole pandemic, it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of meetings. It's been a lot of conference calls, a lot of Zoom meetings, whether it be with coaches, players, families, and then working with the soccer community and all of the other soccer clubs, Colorado Soccer, heading everything up to try and find a return to play, safe date, and then put together all of the guidelines, etc. So I'm not going to say I didn't sneak in a couple of rounds of golf, because Scott will probably come back with that question. So I may as well let him know I've played once or twice. But quite honestly, it's been one of the most unique and difficult springs we've ever had. All things considered, without any soccer and soccer leagues, I feel like I've almost been busier this spring than any spring I've ever coached in, which is kind of weird to say, but there's been something happening, and with the ever-changing world of coronavirus, it's been just constant change on a daily basis. But appreciate the question.
Of course. So I did quickly display Instagram and Twitter handles for Westminster Soccer. Those are in the comment section of this video. And Paul, not to put you on the spot, but you mentioned earlier that other communities had their soccer clubs up and running a little bit faster than ours. And I know that there's a lot that plays into that. You all are using our city fields that are out there. Is that maybe the key difference between them? Or were even their city parks and everything opening a little bit quicker, just to kind of give us an idea of what some of the surrounding communities were and what you were seeing with regard to that?
Yeah, I mean, just, in summary, City of Westminster's kind of split in two counties, being Jeffco and Adams County. And the city does not have its own health department. So we were going on the guidelines and the timelines of Tri-County Health and Jeffco Public Health Department. So working with the different health departments who were getting guidance from, obviously, the government, the CDC and the state of Colorado. We were kind of a little bit later in opening than other cities or other counties. I know Denver, Douglas County and El Paso County, I believe, got open a little bit earlier than us. But I was super confident with how we were doing it, and more importantly, how the city of Westminster were doing it. And they had to have all their guidelines in place. There was a lot of boxes that needed to be checked. It went up through the whole Parks and Rec department, and they were great in supporting what we wanted. They understood, how important it was to get out there this week. And, it just took a little bit of time, and it went through city council and city manager's desk, but it had to be done right, Juliet. And I don't know about the other cities and counties and soccer clubs. I do know some got open maybe a week before, sports camps got open maybe 2 or 3 weeks before, but we're not in a camp business. We're a youth soccer league business, so it was different for us. But as far as kind of when and how, the timing of us getting open on this past Monday, the 22nd of June, it was just in an effort to make sure that everything was done correctly. And it was frustrating for families. I know City Hall was getting phone call after phone call. When is it happening? Likewise, our office and our staff phones were blowing up with questions. But we done it right. We're kind of in a different spot because of the city covering 2 different counties and kind of following guidelines, from the different health departments is what really dictated when we could actually get on the fields. But now we're on. We're excited. The facilities are going to be open. We've opened a summer training program all through the summer, and then please, hopefully, leagues will start up in August, and we'll get a fall soccer season. So.
Excellent. So families can support you all by spreading the word that you guys are open. If they have kids of their own, then they can look at some of those soccer camps that you're offering here in July and then the late August. And then here in the next week or two, there's an opportunity to also purchase branded merchandise that shows your support of our area nonprofit and really the camaraderie that's there. Anything else that I've left out of ways that people can engage with your organization?
No, I mean, we're in the community. We're all over the community, all over the north area of Denver. We've got a super network going. We've got super support, great staff, great coaches that have really pulled together through this. So our team of people, like I said earlier, I feel we've just become stronger and closer. And the people that are going to benefit from that the most is the kids that we work with. So we'll be out there again this afternoon, and it's different groups get an opportunity to get out each day. So seeing them groups come out for the first time is it's unbelievable. If you have some time, Juliet, you should come up to your fields. You'll just see it in the kids' faces. It's cool.
I will take you up on this. I told you I want to be coached on soccer one of these days. Westminster Soccer Club's website is also included in the comment section. Thank you to whoever is managing your social media. Definitely keep them around. And for everybody that's tuned in with us for our nonprofit feature, I appreciate Paul taking the time to be here, and I appreciate you guys carving out 30 minutes to tune in and hear how their organization kind of adapted to COVID, what they're doing in response to it, and then looking ahead, a few newer things that they've done. If you are in a similar line of work or know of a nonprofit or type of business that might follow a similar model, Paul gave us some information on what they did to handle and address the situation that they were in, from refunds and credits that they offered all the way to, now doing mini groups that meet up and instituting other health policies for their coaches and for their kids that are getting dropped off and then getting picked back up. So we appreciate you taking the time to tune in with us. We will be back here for a live broadcast at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow's broadcast is with Adams County. We have with us Adam Berg, who will share a legislative recap from the county lens. So as you all are aware, legislative session or state session concluded a little over a week and a half ago. And so we will be featuring the update, or at least one update, tomorrow. So tune in at 11 a.m. to hear kind of what some policies were that passed, maybe some that did not. That's a good thing that they had it. So bring your political hat with you tomorrow and invite anyone else. And be sure to check out information about Westminster Soccer Club through any of their social media platforms and their website. Thank you, Jimmy, for the feedback. We also appreciate everything the club does for the kids. Have a terrific day, everyone. And thank you, Paul, for being here with me this morning.
Thanks, Juliet. Thanks, everyone.